always hate having to follow Dawn, because she always makes me so nervous. So first and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to thank Representative Gloria Fox and Sarah Peak and their amazing team for putting this event together, especially Ms. Tuitt. So let's give them a round of applause. According to the CDC, 1 in 2 Black gay men and 1 in 4 Latino gay men will get an HIV diagnosis within their lifetime. And in 2015, Black gay men accounted for the largest diagnoses among a subpopulation. And in the state of Massachusetts, you find that 30% of Black MSM and 23% of Latino MSM diagnosed with HIV are diagnosed between the ages of 13 and 24 years old. We even are able to pinpoint down to the neighborhoods with high prevalence of HIV in the greater Boston area. Now, couple this with poverty, unemployment, underemployment, access to health care, racism, trauma, and oppression. So here, on World AIDS Day, as a Black gay man, I stand at the intersection of getting to zero in our lived experiences. Truly, we must understand that solutions for our community cannot come from the top down, but from within. We must understand that we must invest into our communities. And we must understand that we must amplify the voices of the people that sit at the epicenter of the HIV epidemic. So here, again, I stand on World AIDS Day as a Black gay man at the intersection of getting to zero and our lived realities. And that reality is a call to action with urgency. We understand that access is a core part of health equity. Increasing knowledge among Black and Latino MSM in increasing to accessing HIV prevention and treatment services must be a priority. Being intentional, targeted, and strategic in our outreach and recruitment activities must be a priority. And not only providing an HIV test, but also life skills support, mental health services, substance misuse services, beds, and safe spaces must be a priority. So here again, on World AIDS Day, I, as a Black gay man, stand before you, sitting at the intersection of getting to zero and our lived realities. I carry with me into the State House a 24-year-old Black gay man sold into a school and prison pipeline, untreated mental health condition, and was interested in PrEP, and we lost him in a broken system. And now he's HIV positive. He's a member, a friend, and today I stand with him and many more like him. Because when the history books are written, they will ask us, what did we do for Black gay men when they stood at the intersection of getting to zero in their realities? And we have to ask ourselves, what will our answer be? Thank you, guys.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be here on this beautiful day, commemorating World AIDS Day, a time when we remember the successes and the challenges that, as Don mentioned, that lie ahead as we eradicate HIV/AIDS. Dr. Benkis cannot be here today, but he sends his warmest regards. Before I start, I just want to thank the event organizers, Mary Tuitt, Project Able, including Representative Gloria Fox and Sarah Peak, for allowing me to represent Calvin today and just share this exciting news with you all, especially considering the theme of today's event and the setting we're in. So the first HIV prevention treatment called pre-exposure prophylaxis, short for PrEP, first made headlines in 2010 when results from a number of research studies worldwide showed that PrEP, a single FDA-approved pill that if taken once daily is over 90% effective against HIV when taken every day, and also combined with other proven prevention strategies of at-risk individuals. In the past 2 years, PrEP rollout has moved quickly. It is estimated that in October 2016, around 100,000 people were using PrEP PrEP in more than 30 countries, with the majority of users in the US. However, even where there are existing national PrEP programs, PrEP uptake is unequal, and the people, primarily racial and sexual minorities of color who would benefit from PrEP, aren't on PrEP. As a matter of fact, African Americans only make about 10% of patients who are on PrEP. And this is definitely heart-wrenching. So on top of all the myriad of social and socioeconomic factors that are behind HIV rates, we talk about poverty, we talk about racism, we talk about lack of access to medical care, education, etc. Getting tested, finding a doctor who will provide PrEP, and also figuring out how to pay for the medication can be frustrating and also take a considerable amount of time. Delays that could lead to poor health outcomes and HIV transmission. So today, on World AIDS Day, I'm excited to announce that Commons Ground Health Center has launched their same-day PrEP program. And so it's the first in the state of Massachusetts, and we want to go as far as saying the nation, but we're not sure, to actually offer such a service. Yes. So the same-day service program is designed to address all the barriers that we mentioned before, including delays in scheduling and waiting for lab results that are oftentimes the barriers that most patients experience when they're seeking PrEP. And so we have a PrEP health navigator who will, when people call the health center, who will assist patients from the start to the end, and also helping them stay and adhere to PrEP. They will also help with insurance and figure out payments, etc. So folks who are interested can definitely come in and benefit from this. So the goal here today is to encourage all of you guys to help us spread the word about this service. It's very much needed. Studies have shown that we have PrEP and that it works, but then we should and must make every effort to put it in the hands of the people who need it the most. So I would hope that something like this would help eliminate the disparities that we always talk about, and that we will together come and, even if there are competitions among organizations for, patients and numbers, but that we could put all of this aside and think about who's at risk and actually deliver the services that they are needed. So in that, I want to tell you guys that we have some materials in the back here. We have the press releases on paper. You can get able to take them back to your organizations and programs and share the news. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, see me afterwards.
Thanks, Jonathan. And we'll be hearing some more about PrEP throughout the day, as well as some of the other work that's happening at MAC and other places, and the community health centers. Next, I'm really excited for this particular introduction. Where is my girl? There she is. She's hiding. I'd like to introduce Chastity Bowick. I first met Chastity at a meeting in Worcester when she was working at APW coordinating the Transgender Emergency Fund. And she basically blew me away. And then I saw her in a stat article where she was talking about trans women and childbearing and families. And she's a pretty extraordinary person. So that was what I think. I'll read her bio. Chastity is a transgender health coordinator, an African-American transgender female. Chastity started transition in the Boston area at age 18, 13 years ago after moving there from Rochester, New York, in order to safely pursue transition. She worked hard to obtain her medical assistance diploma as part of her associate's degree and obtained a master's certificate in 2016 from Clark University in nonprofit human service management. She currently works as the Transgender Health Coordinator at the AIDS Action Committee and remains the Director of the Transgender Emergency Fund. So thanks, Chastity, for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say first thank you to the committee for inviting me and holding this World AIDS Day event. But I'm going to be honest with you, I had no intentions of speaking today. So when I got the email from our lovely Mary Stewart, my intentions was to reach out to some of my transgender female clients of color who are HIV positive. Can anyone who identifies as transgender in this room raise your hand? There's 4 of us. 1 of color. I'm HIV negative, but everywhere I go, I'm assumed to be HIV positive, whether it's because I say I work at AIDS Action or if I identify as a transgender female. That's why we don't have a trans female of color that is HIV positive here today. They stay away, they're in hiding. If they feel like they can't go and get adequate health care, what makes you think they want to stand in front of you and tell their story of how they became HIV positive and their disparities? So I take that on as my job for my sisters and brothers who are positive, because they need help. They need more than just my help. We need your help. We need to educate them and let them know that they have health centers and other resources here in this community that want to support them and want to represent them. There should be no reason that I take a client to a shelter and automatically they're assuming we're both HIV positive. The fact that I've had to indulge into sex work after leaving an abusive relationship, thank God I made it out of that situation HIV negative. But you know how many didn't? Do you know how many trans women of color died this year due to working sex work and the Johns finding out that they are HIV positive without their disclosure? They're not going to disclose if they feel like they're pushed to the side once they find out that they're HIV positive. It's not a death sentence anymore. But most of my girls, they don't know that. They don't have the education, they don't have the tools. And once again, I can't do it alone. And like my colleague Amir said, we need to start working together. These health disparities, they're going to continue. They're going to continue to happen. More and more people are going to be discouraged. We want to have our viral suppression rate to go up, not down. So it's going to take us, even if it's a small amount of us that's in this room today, it's going to take us to take this information back to the agencies that we work at, educate our staff so we can do better with our trans clients, LGBT clients as a general, but more so with the trans clients because they are really hurting right now. So I hope when you see me again speaking regarding trans issues, I'll have some support behind me from my brothers and sisters, because then hopefully they'll be more educated on what speaking out means. There's not going to be a change if you don't see our faces and hear our voices. And I know in Massachusetts, we have the agencies that are dedicated to the HIV cause, so that one day in Massachusetts, we will get to 0 HIV stigma, 0 HIV deaths, and 0 new HIV infections. Thank you.
Before I get started, I also want to recognize our good friend, Representative Sean Garbly from Arlington Medford. Thank you, Sean, for joining us. The other colleagues that were supporting us here today are traveling in warm, faraway climates, so I'm surprised you're here, Sean. Glad to have you here. I can tease him. We worked together for a long time, and he's a really good ally for our community. I also want to echo the sentiments about Mary Tuitt while she's still in the room, because Mary is special to our community in so many ways. She really has spearheaded this event since we started it 6 years ago. This is the 6th one. I was thinking about it back 6 years ago. And the reason I know that, and Mary doesn't actually know this story, but this it's not embarrassing to you, don't worry. But you actually were very special to me personally. I want to share this with all of you, because when we started planning the World AIDS Day event in 2010, between the time we started planning it and when the event happened is when I got my diagnosis of HIV. And I came to this event in 2010, and I didn't say a word. I hid in the back of the room. I prayed she would not embarrass me and call me up to the podium, because I would have just bawled that day. And Mary stood there, as she always does, with such grace, alongside Rep. Fox and our other allies, and really created a welcoming and safe space for me personally in that capacity. So I want to thank you for that. Really, really important. And I think for all of us, it's important to share that too, because when we think about HIV as a virus, as something to get to 0, and the clinical aspects of HIV and the medical care, and really the amazing progress we've made in so many ways towards getting to 0, it really is still the human experience of stigma, of living with this virus, all of the social factors that we've talked about, racism, poverty, trauma, homophobia, transphobia, sex phobia, all these things that still play a role in people's fear of even talking about or learning about HIV or getting tested in the first place, or once infected, are substantial barriers to care even here in Massachusetts in 2016. It's still the social, it's still the personal, it's still related to stigma. And we can't forget that. When we think about the Getting to Zero efforts, getting to zero new infections, age-related deaths, and zero HIV-related stigma, that may be our hardest one yet to tackle, actually, for that reason. When Dawn started, she said, do you say Happy World AIDS Day? And I've been having that conversation with some people this morning. And I actually do say Happy World AIDS Day today for a particular reason. When you look at what's happening in DC, if you dare to look at what's happening in DC going forward, there's lots of reasons to be afraid or nervous or contemplate the worst case scenarios. We may have to fight, we will have to fight to prevent those worst case scenarios, I think, even more so than ever. But the reason I can still say Happy World AIDS Day here in Massachusetts is because I look around this room and I think about who's coming to the Getting to Zero event tonight, the World AIDS Day events happening around this state, all the organizations reflected here. We actually are a community of people that do know how to work together. We do have leaders in the State House that know how to support our work, invest in our funds with our continued advocacy. We do have leaders at the Department of Public Health that are allies in this work and that have the kind of creativity to work with us as community-based organizations and health centers, frankly, some of the best in the world right here in our backyard doing amazing work in our community. So when I say Happy World AIDS Day today, I say it with that little fear on the side of the work that we have to do still, but we know that. We've never gotten this far without working hard and fighting for our rights and fighting for our community, but we'll keep doing that, and I feel happy that I have allies and friends here to do the work with every day until we do get to zero. So thank you all for your work.